The last presentation of our section is the Walmart story. Real rural shoppers, say that 3 times fast. Real stories, real impact. Our presenters are David Guenthner, Senior Director, Global Customer Insights and Analytics for Walmart. And David is a 2-time winner of the David Ogilvy Award for Advertising Research Excellence. Dave will be joined by Jody Ayers, Senior Director, Global Insights and Analytics for Walmart Operations and Walmart.com. Jody is the winner of the 2008 ARF Rising Star Award, and he has now risen to the main stage of the ARF Rethink Conference. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Great. Thanks, Robert. Really appreciate it. Just on behalf of Jody, I want to thank the ARF for having us here today. I have to say, Robert used to work with us at Walmart. The Voltaire quote earlier today, someone's gotten to be Mr. Fancy Pants after leaving Arkansas, I can tell you that. But I'm going to swing it over here to Jody, and he's going to lead us off today.
It happens, right? So thank you. Good morning, Jody Ayers. Doesn't happen to me. I'm just a boy from Arkansas, born and bred. I call myself a city boy. I come up to New York City, though it's not the same city. But you know, a city in Arkansas, I think we were about 70, 90,000 people where I grew up, so small. But in Arkansas, you're never too far away from a rural life, right? So you kind of know it. I had a lot of time in swimming holes, on 2-lane dirt roads, very familiar with that kind of stuff. Even had some pet chickens at one point. So my aunt was dating a guy whose family had a big farm. And he decided to give me and my brother chicks for Easter one year. Right? So you get a pet, what do you got to do first? You have to name them, right? So me and my brother, we collaborate, name our chickens. We come out to announce their names to the family. They say, we have the chickens' names. Great, what are they? Bill and Peckerhead. Mom looks at us and says, don't you think one of those names might be a little bit offensive? So Randy, my brother, and I, we shake our head, like, you're right. One of those names is offensive. So we go back and collaborate some more and come back and say, got a new name. What is it? Luke Duke. Duke's a hazard, right? Mom says, great, Bill and Luke Duke. No, Mom, Luke Duke and Peckerhead.
Ho!
The inside part of that is my dad's name is Bill, so we thought we were offending him by naming a chick after him.
Jody, you do know that the Customer Central folks who were just presenting were not in talent development. They were in the Insights organization. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, not to be outdone, I have rural bona fides as well. I grew up in South Texas in a rural area. It's actually a pretty significant citrus industry. And so I'm a little sensitive about the idea that Insights might be viewed as a cost center in an organization. And so I need to move some cases here. How many people have had ruby red grapefruit from Texas? Anybody? Hey, that's a good showing of hands. It's really, really good, right? It's grown in my hometown. We pack it in our hometown, and we sell it to Walmart, okay? And we buy it at Walmart, right? And then we sell it to you. So if you could just do me a favor, go out to your local Walmart or Sam's Club and buy some Texas grapefruit. We'd really appreciate it. So that's the sales part of the presentation today. Let me jump in to the mechanics of the presentation. Rural customers, right? Learning about rural customers. There is a strong heritage with the company in rural America. The company started in 1962 by Mr. Sam Walton. Sam Walton had the mission of driving down costs in his organization to pass those cost savings on to Americans like you and I. And he took it with such zeal that when he would travel to the various stores, meeting with customers, meeting with fellow associates, he would stay at hotels just like, well, perhaps not as grand as the Hilton here, but he really tried to save money. So much so that he would make his way around the hotel and the various conference rooms to basically grab pens that he would bring back. So there's lots of pens here, right? He'd bring them back to Bentonville, and you would see those showing up in the office supplies case. So we talked to PR before we came here to present. We were told not to make news, but I can't help myself here. I'm just going to announce that the official writing utensil of the Global Customer Insights and Analytics Group at Walmart, at least until my next hotel stay, will be brought to you by Hilton, Midtown, New York. Again, really appreciate it, Hilton. You've contributed to the office supplies at Walmart, true and form. So now let's talk a little bit about rural. When we talk about rural, what does that mean? All right, I think people have a lot of misconceptions around what rural means. If you think about just generally from census data standpoint, that there are just shy of 60 million Americans who live in areas that are classified as rural, okay? There are 3,143 counties and county equivalents in the country. 59% of those counties are majority rural. Right? That might seem surprising, but when you think about it, there's about 20 counties of those 3,143 that are highly populous. We're all sitting in one right now. And so there's tremendous population density in just a handful of counties. But if you're a brick and mortar retailer as well as an e-commerce retailer, you've got to be able to market to everyone. And so the rural customer becomes very important along those lines. And I want to emphasize this point that Walmart indeed serves the country. Right? Walmart serves just about every demographic out there. When folks join the company, they come to the Insights Group, they say, hey, I want to know my customer. The flip answer is the customer's America, all right? But we want to go deeper than that. Okay. Jody and I talked about our respective experiences growing up. You as an aspiring chicken farmer, I as an aspiring citrus farmer. But those days in the 80s when you and I were growing up, perhaps 70s and 80s when you and I were growing up, it's different now. It's tempting to look at the rural customer as the stereotypical farmer, the yokel, right? Kind of sort of Beverly Hillbilly kind of vibe. But that's not at all happening. And if there's one thing I want you to leave with today is that rural customers are savvy, they're planning, they're engaging technology to conduct their commerce, and they are a vibrant customer for our group. So with that, I will turn it over to Jody. Go.
The rural customer is pretty important to Walmart. Besides being where we started, if we just took the sales from our rural stores, we'd still be a top 10 retailer in the United States. Doesn't explain all of our size and scale, but it goes a long way. And as Dave mentioned, we knew that rural customers were engaged in technology for their e-commerce and commerce activities. And we were trying to understand that better. And we worked with Communispace and we did a co-creation project to say, how can we help make their shopping easier? And the power behind that project, where we brought our executives and people that were making decisions and sat them down with the customer and said, let's make some ideas together, was so great. We stepped back and we said, what else are we doing in this space? And we at Walmart, we love numbers. We count all the pennies. And we had done our penny counting in the rural stores. We had looked at the traffic patterns. We understood that. We had done other research to understand how small formats were playing in the lives of rural customers. But we realized we had two kind of big misses in that space. So one was replicating that power of connecting our decision makers with the customer. And two, really understanding this customer holistically, besides these narrow project-based answers that we were coming to. So we went back to Communispace and we said, how can we do this together? Right? That's the challenge. How can we make that connection about the customer together? And the secondary challenge, which is always in front of us at Walmart, is how do we do it at scale? We have thousands of decision makers who need to be thinking about the customer in their decisions. And we have a small but mighty research group trying to arm them with information, and we simply can't engage them one-to-one on every business decision that they have. So how do we bring them together, teach them something about the customer that is meaningful to them, across a room like this and engage to drive action. And that was the challenge.
So how did we get there from an approach standpoint? Through a series of virtual focus groups and a series of deep ethnographies among the community-based communities that we developed among rural customers, we really engaged one-on-one with these customers. One of the key aspects that we learned about rural customers is that time and driving distance were major concerns of theirs, right? And so just as an example, imagine that it's at night, you wake up, you've got a splitting headache, you go to the medicine cabinet, oh my goodness, I can't find a pain reliever, right? I'm out, right? If you're in rural America, you've basically got a long night of either driving, right, or frankly, pain, right? Here in New York City, you don't have to worry about that. You basically just go down the stairs in your building and practically find that type of thing. So these customers are constantly grappling with this notion of how do I manage my time and distance, right, and driving distance, and it's a really, really big challenge.
And so as we were talking about the scale problem, we said we have to meet everybody where they are. We got to bring something for everybody, for every type of learner. So we started with infographics and these giant poster boards that you see behind me to try to bring it to life. So the one on the left, right, it's like a game. And it walks through what Dave was talking about, that pain, the process of planning the trip to make sure that you don't waste any time. And then when you get there to the retailer and you're shopping the store, what are the things that the retailer can do right to make it better for you? What can they not do so well that makes that trip less of a good experience and less beneficial to you and waste your time, most importantly, because that's what they're concerned about. So we had the boards, and they were great, but we didn't stop there. So then we booked our auditorium and invited everybody in, and we were marketing the methodology. So we printed these great invitations on seed packets, right, to connect the idea of the rural customer out there with at least the myth that they are farmers, to get people in the room so that then we could bust that myth. And we did. And we could also challenge the room with engaging against the idea that they were engaged in technology and to think about that customer. Now that you understand the challenges that they face, how do you leverage the decisions that you're making? And so we had 500 or so people in the auditorium listening to that, and it was fantastic. But the real power, Dave, the real power was the immersion room. So at Walmart, we have these infamous vendor rooms. You walk in the lobby, you go through a robust security screening process if you're trying to sell us something, and they escort you into one of these rooms. The buyer comes in, you try to sell, and then you're let out. So we booked one of these for a full week and set this room up. And we had the posters and the infographics. And we had things that made it feel like rural America. But we also had things from the customers themselves. Communispace had reached out to rural customers, and they sent in pictures of their family with notes about what those pictures meant to them. They sent postcards to Walmart. We had myth-busting trivia in there, right? So if that's how you want to engage, we were asking you trivia and we were busting myths. One of my favorite parts also, though, was we had voicemails from customers. So there's a phone sitting there, you pick it up, and you could listen to voicemails that rural customers had left to us. And it was a very powerful way to get to the voice of the customer, but we didn't stop there.
Yes, we wanted people to really feel who the rural customer was in their bones. Our partners at Communispace worked with us to create a photo documentary. And without further ado, I'll introduce you to Vicki from Belle Plaine, Kansas, one of our customers, and show her experience. Please roll the video, please.
I'm Vicki. I live in Belle Plaine, Kansas, and I am 56. That hurt. My daughter Carly lives with me. She has special needs. The challenges she faces are unbelievable, and she does it with a smile on her face most times. I stick to town here pretty close for the most part. I'm on limited income. I'm on a budget. Gas is expensive and becoming more so every day. We have a little grocery store. In a pinch, it's great. I'm glad it's here, but you always want more, I guess. And I understand you're rural, it's out here, it's going to cost a little more. But good Lord, if I've got an item I buy at Walmart for $2.49, don't tell me it's going to cost me $6.59 here in town. I'm going to put the gas in my car and go to Walmart. Because of the economy, because of my budget, I coupon. I'm not extreme, but I do coupon. I do comparative shop, and I sign up for everything to see if I like them. They send you all their coupons. I get the Walmart emails all the time, too, so it's hard to say that I have a great big plan, in the real perfect world. I like to think I do because I have this book, this spiral book that I write this list in, and I try to go for the sales. I try to match up coupons with it and try to get the most bang for my buck. The train goes diagonally through this part of the state. So for me to drive to Walmart depends on how many trains I wait for. And maybe it's one train, but I have to wait for it 2 or 3 times. So by the time I drive all the way to town, I'm kind of tired, honestly. When we go to Special Olympics practices, I have to stop at a grocery store. We do our shopping on these trips to town. Like I say, economics dictates a little bit of that. So Walmart is good for that, except when you go in and the things on your list are the advertised sale ad that came out on Sunday and it's Monday night and you get in there and they don't have it. If you're going to advertise it, don't make people come twice to get it, that's rude. Buying frozen food at Walmart this distance away is kind of dicey. If I'm going to buy anything like that, I have to put it in a cooler. I can't drive 25, 30 miles with ice cream in the car. I have a black interior. It just doesn't do. When everything on the list is found. That's a good trip. Successful trip. Because I don't have to make a second trip. I've got it. It's all there. No more trips back. And that's probably another, 4 gallons of gas, and it starts adding up. And when you're on a fixed income, you have to watch your pennies.
So that was Vicki, and I would bargain that you now have a better appreciation for who the rural customer is than you did just 3.5 minutes ago. And that's the power of actually bringing this to life through video and through immersion rooms like we had on Vendor Row that Jody was speaking about earlier.
And just like Dave was saying, hopefully you have a better connection to rural customers, but that's what we brought to the associates, to the merchants that are buying products, to the marketers that are talking to our customers, to the operators that are in the store and serving those customers. We brought this video and we brought all these materials to them to inspire them, right? To give them some insight into the customer, but inspire them to think about the customer when they're making the decisions that they do every day in their jobs. And we touched hundreds of associates. We know that they came to this symposium and they came to the immersion room, and it was a great success in Bentonville, so much so that we took it on the road to San Bruno to our Walmart.com team as well. And it was a tougher sell out there, right? The e-commerce team was thinking, what do I need to worry about rural customers for? And we were able to get them in the room and talk to them about it and say, look, these guys are on websites. That's smart, right? That saves them time, saves them the trip. They're doing all kinds of things like that. So the final part, though, was we really wanted to engage with the associates that participated to make sure that they got something meaningful out of it, and that then we could market the methodology on the backside as well. And so we talked to the associates, and we got a great video clip here of some of our associates telling the impact to them personally in the decisions that they're going to make. Let's see that.
For marketing specifically, targeting the rural customer, we know that they use technology. We can change our marketing plans in order to be able to reach the rural customer.
One of the things that I really took from there was that don't underestimate technology within the rural customer.
The biggest thing I took away was the smaller stores don't just stop shipping in the inventory and don't stop the assortment with them. You just have to cater it differently.
Hearing from the merchants, I thought that was very important, and how do we incorporate that even more getting more merchants involved, and really speaking to the story of what they've done to improve their business for these particular customers.
I really think we should look at our assortment from a different point of view and maybe put some things in that we haven't thought of before. It makes me think really from the get-go, starting the development process very differently than I would have normally.
So before we wrap up, we just wanted to leave you with 3 key lessons that we take away from this, the overarching learning. Number 1 is that things are changing, right? And they're changing in ways that often counter against stereotype.
And with those things that are changing, you have to get out there, right? You have to talk to the customers and understand their life to understand the change and how it's impacting them.
And finally, the big learning as an insights team is you have to work with great partners. And Convenience Space has just been an absolutely fabulous partner in this journey. And so you have to have great partners, and I'm sure everyone here knows that as well. So thank you for your attention, and everyone have a wonderful day. I'll send it over to Robert.
Thank you.